Okay, well, we may as well kick things off. 1 minute past 12. Anyone else drops in later, I guess they'll pick it up as they go. So thanks a lot for joining, everyone. Hello, my name is Steve Humphris. I'm the country manager for RealWear in Australia and New Zealand. Welcome to RealWear ANZ's first customer use case focused webinar. We're leveraging wearable technology to transform the mining industry in uncertain times. So over the next 12 months, RealWear, in collaboration with our growing list of customers around Australia and New Zealand, will use this forum to present use cases for wearable technology solutions that drive improvements in efficiency, safety, compliance, and ultimately productivity. Please look out for invites to the webinars via LinkedIn, and we'll also contact prior to attendees or for attendees that have previously joined, we'll send out invites as well. During today's session, I'll be joined by Cameron Stevens, our National Solutions Engineer Manager, and also Clint Rossetti, the Innovation Technology Manager for Ausdrill. You can see the agenda there on the side of the slide presented, giving the amount of new names to us today. We will start by introducing RealWear's version of what's practical and scalable wearable technology. So, just given that there's a lot of people in the presentation today that haven't seen the RealWear solution, we'll just start with an explanation for what that is as a wearable solution. From there, Cam's going to do an on-site demonstration of use cases. And then finally, for the mainstay of the presentation, we'll have Clint join us and go through his use case and some of the things that he's learned from deploying wearables in the field. If you've got any questions, please use the comments area and we'll try to pick them up during the presentation, or we'll follow up afterwards after the webinar to answer those questions. So again, thanks a lot for joining the webinar. Although it doesn't involve a mining customer, I do want to start just by presenting a video actually in the oil and gas space, mainly because it's a really good way to introduce the concept of remote assistance in the field and wearable technology. So I'm going to play that video now.
Hello guys, it's Nabil and Fabrice from the Smart Room in Normandy. How can we help you?
So we had some intermittent vibrations last night reported by operations.
He said the vibration was reported mostly in the thrust bearing, correct?
Yes.
The deployment of RealWear connecting helmet in combination with Microsoft Teams marks another step in Total's digital transformation. This is a real game changer.
Vibration issue could be linked to process issue. May you check it, please?
Adam, can you go closer to the manometer, please?
Put the HMT-1Z1 on your head and you go hands-free. I can actually check vibration. I can check temperatures, with my hands. I can work. I can actually turn wrenches or open up a book. The potential is high.
Your final diagnostic, Fabrice and JC?
So to me, it's as I said, it looks okay, stable. So let's continue to monitor, and if the noise appears again, then call me right away.
Anna, you happy with that?
Yes, I agree. Anything else comes up, we'll reach back to you guys.
Today's deployment at Laporte Polymer Plant is just a start. We'll continue to deploy digital tools that connect frontline workers with subject matter experts wherever they are in the world.
Okay, so I think that Total video is a fantastic presentation for showing how the wearable technology can actually bring the field back into the office. You can see in that video the amount of collaboration that can take place with people from anywhere in the world alongside the field-based representatives to really get to the nut of the problem. And it's really going to be the focus of today's session. So just a little bit about us, RealWear, quickly. This is a representation of RealWear around the world today. We are headquartered in Washington State, Vancouver, but as you can see, RealWear ANZ is represented both in Melbourne and, although a rather dubious bullet point right there, also in Perth. And it's through our ANZ operations that we've been working with Ausdrill, as well as many other customers over the last 18 months. RealWear is a knowledge sharing platform. It's specifically designed for what's referred to as Industry 4.0, or the fourth industrial revolution. So Industry 4.0 is the ongoing automation of traditional manufacturing and industrial practices using modern smart technology. It's obviously a very hot topic in mining today, not just due to the eternal focus on efficiency and safety, but recently with the advent of COVID-19 and the impact on business continuity, mining companies and service providers have had to accelerate their Industry 4.0 strategies to try and control new unwanted events caused by the pandemic. The focus of today's wearable presentation is the HMT, or head-mounted tablet. It's a rugged wearable designed specifically to be deployed in industrial operations to support field-based workers in situation. Wearables are the next iteration of the mobile revolution, looking to replace the handheld device. And yet wearable to date have not really been fully embraced by the mining industry, and we need to look at why that is the case. What is it about the wearable that hasn't succeeded? Where is it appropriate? Where is it practical? And how can it be improved? And we see the HMT and the focus of today's presentation as a new version of the wearable, something that is more practical and more scalable for field-based operations. I can actually just put one on my head at the same time as talking to you. Hopefully you can see it. Sometimes the background causes an issue, but please speak up, somebody, if you can't see the device correctly. I just want to put it on my head to give you an understanding for what I'm talking about. Obviously Cam's going to present it in a second. So with the device firmly fitted and the monocle set up correctly with the left or the right eye, the HMT provides the equivalent of a 7-inch screen, importantly sitting below line of sight. Also alongside that is a 16 megapixel camera available to take photos, capture videos, scan codes, or to dial people in to see what I see. So this device weighs about 350 grams and the battery lasts for a full shift, or about 8 hours. And then as per the slide that you're looking at here, a list of features that do make this practical and appropriate for deployment in the field. Importantly, I'm hands-free. The screen is out of line of sight and allows me to have my wits about me. It's not overly immersive. At the same time, it's unobtrusive. So you can talk to customers, you can talk to other people in the field, and they can clearly see your face. The device provides a noise cancellation environment so that when I'm operating the device and people are dialed into the device, they can hear me even when I'm alongside 100 decibels of sound. Then the device is compatible with your PPE, including hard hat, safety glasses, dust mask or ear protection, and it works in direct sunlight, so an outdoor display. It's also IP66 rated, which makes it waterproof, dust tight, and we're certified to drop the device on concrete from 2 meters. So in total, it's a rugged device appropriately designed to be used in situation by field engineers whilst they're working. Just some other little facts about it. The fact that you can connect via Wi-Fi, you can connect via hotspotting to a mobile phone, or you can load a modem on the side. It's a popular feature within the mining industry right now in Australia due to the connectivity challenges we face with isolation. So you can load a modem on the side and run a public or your private LTE SIM cards on the device. So the technology is part of the the equation for understanding this wearable concept. Possibly the more important one is to look at the use cases, the most common use cases for using the device in the field in mining. This slide shows you a little bit about, or a summary of the major use cases, the major starting points for getting going with the device. But the best way really to understand it is for Cameron to actually show you how the device works, which I'd now like to do. I'm going to attempt to hand over to Cameron. Please be patient as we try to work our way through the webinar technology.
Okay, Steve, I'm just trying to share my screen here. I'm out in the field, so let's have a look. So, hoping you can see my screen.
Yes, we can, Cam, perfectly.
Okay, so I'm currently out in the Ausdrill yard, and I'm going to be showing you how the HMT can be used in the field. My camera. So right now you can see I'm in front of a forklift here. And we'll head down to take photo, preview, manage tags, Ausdrill yard, hazard, apply tags, navigate back, record video. I'm currently inspecting some equipment here in the Ausdrill yard, and we've noticed a pinch point that we just need to make sure is added into our pinch register. Stop recording. Navigate home. My files. My documents. Excavator manual. Zoom level 2. Obviously, I can look at any of my documents that are, can be put onto the HMT. In this case, an excavator manual. I can zoom through and go to whichever page I wish. Go to page 22. Zoom level 3. In here, I can look at the safe working limit of the boom. Navigate back. Rotating flex seal. Drawings can be easily seen in the field by navigating through the document using the onboard gyro. So I can have a look at any portion of that diagram as required. Zoom level 3. I can focus in on the area that I need. Freeze window. I can move the boom arm out of my line of sight to continue the work that I'm doing, and then move it back when I need to progress. Control window. Zoom level 2. I can store videos, photos, PDF documents, work instructions, checklists to perform my maintenance or any of the tasks that I need to perform. Navigate home. Navigate home. So with those two features that I showed you don't require any connectivity, and I can do checklist-based tasks or maintenance tasks also without any connectivity. The work instructions can be downloaded onto the device, and then I can work through them. I'll quickly show you a couple of workflow type scenarios. My programs, snap support. So in this case, I'm going to do an inspection on the forklift that you saw just before. Start inspection, scan QR code, and I'll activate the QR code that I've got on the forklift here, which has brought up all of the IoT data associated with that forklift, any documentation or checklists. I'll quickly do part of a checklist. Checklists. Forklift pre-start inspection. Next step. And again, I can go through hands-free, have a look at the condition of the forklift, simple voice commands as I go through that, and have a PDF report at the end that can workflow into my work order management system. Yes. Next step. As an example. Navigate home. So that was more of a checklist style task, can use for safety inspection checklists or pre-start inspections, any type of inspection checklist you can think of. And then we also have maintenance style workflows. My programs, maintenance. In this case, the device is used all throughout the mining industry, including the rail corridor. In this case, we've got a rail-related use case, a maintenance instruction here, and if I need some information, I can contact in real time to get assistance from anybody on the other end of my call, and they'll see my live video feed, or I can get predefined information that I've already got loaded into the work instruction. Open video, play video. So here's a video instruction on this specific component of the work order. Navigate back, open documents, show full screen, go to page 11, go to page 15, zoom level 3, again, document-based instructions, navigate back, and there's the ability for me to fill the information that I need to on that work order. Now, the last thing I'll show you is IoT data visualization, so being able to get information and control any device that's connected through to the internet and optimized with an application on the HMT. Navigate home, My Programs, Mobile HMI, scan code. So right now I'm going to scan an air handling unit code. And I do need connectivity for this. The HMT can be connected to the internet through 4G hotspot, through a Wi-Fi connection, and through an LTE modem that you can connect onto the headset via micro USB. Show main. So this is an air handling unit system that I can control using my voice. Start fan. Open damper. And there'll be the statistics that I can see. I can see the manual and have a look at what's going on with that piece of equipment in situ as I'm out in the field. Navigate home. So Steve, that's probably enough for me, and we can crack on into the Ausdrill use case.
Fantastic. Thank you, Cam. Yeah, so I mean, I hope that what you've seen through Cam's ability to present the general use cases, the concepts that we like to get going with when we're talking about exploring or validating wearables in the field and mining. I hope you've seen with those demonstrations some of the ideas that are most popular. I think it's also really interesting to see the quality of sound, or hear the quality of sound with Cam talking live on a field site. You can see that there's obviously noise in the background, but it's very well cut out. And of course, Cam's presenting everything over a Zoom platform in this instance, but there are many remote assistance platforms that you can include on a wearable and on this wearable and present that information. All right, now I think it's worth, we're going to jump straight into it and get into the customer case study, introduce Ausdrill. So we'll run through a bit of a background, talk about the problem, the solution, and the insights. But to begin with, thanks a lot, Clint, for joining us. Please go ahead and introduce yourself and perhaps introduce Ausdrill.
Yeah, no problems. Thanks, Steve. Do you want to just share your screen again back into the PowerPoint? So while Steve's sorting that out, so my name's Clint. I'm the Innovation and Technology Manager for Ausdrill's Australian Surface Operations. Ausdrill is a member of the Parenti Global group of companies, formerly Ausdrill Proprietary Limited. Through our Surface ISG, or Industry Sector Group, we're a provider of drilling services, specialising in exploration, drill and blast, and grade control and geotechnical. We also have an African business partner, African Mining Services. They're a leading surface mining operator in Africa, so full contract services. And they've got around 30 years experience over there, providing safe and reliable production and exploration services. So the AMS piece in the African business is a very important part of our continuation to keep rolling out this device as a proof of concept.
Thanks, Clint. So one of the things we find across every mining organisation in Australia is the focus now on digitisation and automation. When we approach mining organisations to discuss wearables, we usually find we're introduced to someone overseeing a digital strategy or something similar. Does Ausdrill have a digital strategy per se, or perhaps some time frames or a roadmap for working towards wearables?
Yeah, look, absolutely. And the slide we've got up at the moment is our principles, which is very much based around the corporate culture that we're trying to grow here in the company. And the very end one, Enable Tomorrow, is all around the technology, I suppose, space and the Industry 4.0. It's such an important part of Ausdrill's ongoing strategy that we are deliberately embedding it in our culture. The interesting thing is that the technology piece also plays into, you know, every other principle we have there. It's no shortcuts. It's making sure we do things right. It's never wasteful. It's making the most of our time. It's allowing us to operate efficiently, walk in their shoes. It's allowing us to service our customers and provide them a better level of service. And you know, a big part of this webinar and the use of this technology is having to deal with the pandemic that they're in at the moment, and the fact that we still need to service our clients despite that. And it's also smarter together, and that's a very important part of the validation process. That's not just internally, but that's working with our partners, including yourself and Cam in the RealWear space.
Absolutely. And just checking if Cam, are you back on the line now in case we do throw to you, and you are there?
Here, Steve.
Okay, all right. Well, we won't throw to you for a while longer, Cam. All right. So, Clint, when it comes to wearables and the role you want to see them play in Ausdrill's operations, is there a particular short-term focus where you feel the right wearable can immediately have an impact or solve a problem that Ausdrill is looking to improve? You just spoke about COVID-19, but could you elaborate on that?
Yeah, look, absolutely. And the case study we're looking at now is not just an example of how we're solving the COVID problem, but it's a part of the broader picture in better being able to service our African business as well. So as this is, you know, a mining sort of focused webinar, like many of our peers, we're always often required to operate in remote areas with already difficult access, limited flights. And, you know, COVID just increased that challenge for us with border closures. In the early stages, never mind the state borders, you know, we had regional lockdowns in Western Australia, which made that difficult. The problem we had and that we solved with the HMT was needing to do a compliance inspection with one of our East Coast clients who were unable to travel due to the border restrictions. And we were still able to service that need like quite effectively. And we do actually have another session linked up with those guys in the next few weeks just to give them some progress reports.
Okay, and have you explored different wearable options in the past? Did you see anything specific about the HMT that you think presented new opportunities or possibilities?
Yeah, look, absolutely. Wearable technology isn't a new thing to us. We had explored other hardware systems, and we have had previous experience with remote expert and mentor type applications. The problems we found with that were they're not really suited to our environment or our industry. Very much bespoke software that had to be developed specifically for our cases, and very, very small runtimes, and also not compatible with PPE, which presented a really big problem for us. It almost meant every time we wanted to use it, we had to write a JHA for it. The HMT, as you've already alluded to, it ticked all the boxes, as you can see in the photos and in some of the demonstrations already. It works with hard hats, it works with safety glasses, IP66 rated. You can wash it down with a hose if you want, which is pretty important for our guys. And also the fact that the battery will last a full shift and is hot swappable in the field. You don't have to return to recharge for an hour and a half just to get another 30 minutes of runtime. Probably the other major change is being an Android OS. It makes it a lot easier to develop custom solutions. We already have a couple of those under development and some going to productionization at the moment. So the next step would be to actually port that across to the device.
Excellent, looking forward to that. We do have a little bit of a video here just showing what's going on in the background. Well, what did take place in the build-up and the completion of the validation. But at the same time, Clint, can you perhaps describe the process you went through to validate the HMT and maybe some of the challenges you faced?
Yeah, look, I think like a lot of people, we thought we saw a new toy and that we'd just run through it on our own. And it was being an Android device, it was really quite a simple operation to start with. It does not take a lot to pick up at all. I remember my initial excitement when they got here. I had the batteries charged and had them on the hotspot, updating the firmware almost immediately. It was when Cam introduced himself and he actually suggested that he was willing to support our proof of concept and also our use cases that I thought, well, if this is a free service, this is a really good value add. And he's actually been instrumental in assisting the validation, just helping me get internal acceptance of the device, but also in the training, as you can see in that video, for the compliance inspection that we did with our client. Terence in the video there, he had never worn a HMT before in his life. It was quite literally 30 seconds to figure out his eye dominance and about 5 minutes of training with Cam walking him through the basic instructions. And he was logged in live onto the Teams meeting and presenting to our client within that 5 minutes.
Excellent. Okay. All right. And then when we talk about the results, I think that's really important. You know, at the moment, we've been doing this for about 12 months in earnest in Australia, and collecting return on investment is something that is really starting to turn up now, but it's fantastic to have this opportunity to talk about it specifically with you today. So when we talk about results or return on investment, there is an immediate and obvious benefits, but there are also the broader impacts that are sometimes not immediately recognised. And Clint and Cam, perhaps you can both talk about what you found from the Ausdrill validation, just looking at the slide here. I mean, the information here immediately says that you paid for the device with the single inspection, but beyond that.
Yeah, that's right. And I think that slide tells the story. The immediate costs we save are there, and that's completely transparent. And that would be an industry standard that we'd sort of accept for, you know, doing a compliance inspection traditionally. The major advantage, though, is I think is the 2 days traveling avoided. For the sake of a 90-minute meeting, I guess it's that old saying, you know, the meeting could have been an email. Well, I think this device really proves that the inspection could have been a Teams link up. And, you know, to pay for the device in a single 90-minute meeting is fine when you're talking about the total value of what that would have cost us normally. But you've also got to remember there's time wasted in traveling as well. Sitting on airplanes, getting your luggage, getting in and out of cars, the convenience itself, you can't put a value on that. I know Cam had some other observations from his end.
Yeah, the key couple of ones for me, Clint, were just the diversity of people that were able to dial in and see. You know, potentially people that, well, obviously with COVID weren't able to travel, but generally speaking, you know, there was a diverse range of people from all over Australia, from both companies, being able to access the feed and you know, ask questions, which typically requires a lot more planning if it's an on-site inspection. The second is just, I'm interested probably to know the reduction in administration burden of having to capture additional evidence that would have been just asynchronous photos and maybe a video here and there, and having to populate that into forms and those kind of things. Just the reduction in administration and how that potentially benefited Ausdrill and your customer.
Yeah, absolutely. And, that's often a cost that gets forgotten about as well. We do have backroom operations and people that are responsible for booking these flights and these cars and all this accommodation. So, you're right in saying that a lot of that cost isn't actually captured.
And Clint, would you say that more people were involved in this inspection because it was easier to be involved?
Look, absolutely. Not only did we have, several people from the East Coast dialing in from our client, but we also had a meeting room booked that was able to share. It was a Teams-enabled meeting room. So everyone that was involved in the meeting from that level was also able to see what was going on in the workshop. And then, of course, not forgetting Terence here, who was actually involved physically by walking around the equipment. And Cam was signed in as well. So we probably had a larger contingent of people in this Teams-enabled meeting through the HMT than we otherwise would have had if it was involved people directly.
Which of course would then expedite decision making afterwards. If you've got all of those people, being involved in the process, can take that away and move on, act on what they now need to act on without waiting for someone to travel back and perhaps catch up with them.
Absolutely. And I guess the next stage for us in this particular use case, just to expand on it, we've actually organised with Terence to perhaps record some of those tasks. So we can actually send those now from the first person view as Terence does them. We can actually send those direct back to the client just for sort of ongoing progress reports.
Slow yourself down a bit, bro.
Yeah. Okay.
There might be a bit of audio coming through on that video. There we go. Good.
Just in the nick of time, was it?
I think so.
So, all right. Well, just to finish up, Clint, just something for the audience around what you learned. So obviously the focus today is on the deployment of wearables in the mining industry. What can you leave us with that perhaps makes it easier for others who are planning on getting going with their own initiatives? And I've just left a slide up there at the same time that talks about other economic contributions that might be considered beyond what we've just discussed.
Yeah, sure. Look, one of the biggest, I suppose, challenges that we've found in a lot of the technology that we do, and it's not just wearables, it's a lot of the data acquisition, it's a lot of equipment monitoring. Your comms and your networks need to be really stable and capable. It's incredibly important for any of this to work. So that's always the first step. The other important thing is the HMT isn't the one size fits all, but it's not a one trick pony. And that's probably the really important takeaway here that sort of backs up the assistance we had with Cam during the validation. We just thought, great, it's got Teams on it. We have a corporate enterprise account. Let's just crank along with that. It wasn't until we actually got Cam involved that my eyes were opened up to the vast capabilities of this device and the huge amount of software that's actually available in the background. So look, that would be another really important point. We're all experts in our own field and we need to acknowledge that, when it comes to the HMT team, they know their device best. So definitely get the guys involved and utilize the services. Probably the last challenge that I'd like to point out, and it's very typical, I'm the worst offender for this. When you're looking to solve a problem with a wearable device, make sure you focus on solving that problem first. It's really, really easy to get carried away when you've got new toys, and when people start sharing them around and you get all the, what if we do this and what about that? Very, very quickly, you'll find that you've got 6 or 7 or more ideas up in the air and you never really finish what you started. It's really, really important when you're trying new technology, and particularly in wearables, solve the problem that you initially got the wearable for first. Once you've got that down pat, you can start looking at solving other problems, but really don't get carried away with 6 or 7 partially finished ideas.
Okay, thank you. Thanks a lot, Clinton, and thanks a lot for making the time to join us and to go through that. We really appreciate that. We're looking forward to working with Ausdrill and the broader Parenti group in the future. I do want to just touch on what you mentioned as one of your key learnings around the process of validation and the importance of not just hoping to go by yourself on this. We at RealWear partner with a variety of partners around Australia who have their own innate knowledge to do with wearables, and we have our own process that we go in hand with our partners for the customer, and that process has been proven to work around the world. And it is about identifying the right use cases, the simplest use cases, and making sure the device is set up correctly and the people that are going to validate it are trained, as well as knowing what you're comparing it against and how to measure success. So having that robust methodology in place is a really critical part of generating the right information in a business case, and we recommend that. So that's the conclusion of today's webinar. I want to thank everybody for joining us for this first session, and to reiterate that we do plan to do additional webinars moving forward. In fact, we already have a customer who's coming along to the next one, and we're going to be focusing on using wearable technology to facilitate meetings in work environments. We're also looking at building a consortium of members into a group that can assist with the ongoing development of wearable use cases in mining around Australia. So anyone who is interested in that, please do get in touch with me or Cameron, and we'll tell you more about it. But thank you very much, everyone, for joining.